OnePlus just released the N6X, positioning it squarely in the strict budget tier with a starting price of 18,999 rupees, up to 20,999 rupees. If you look back over the last couple of years, spending 20,000 rupees on a OnePlus device meant you could reliably expect a certain baseline of performance. We're talking sharp displays, plenty of active memory, and fast charging speeds. This comparison shows the gap between expectations and reality. The left 2022 layout has tall bars for AMOLED screens, 8GB RAM, and 4K video. On the right, the N6X presents stunted bars, representing basic HD plus LCD, 4GB RAM, and 1080p video. Seeing specifications drop this aggressively suggests that 20,000 rupees can no longer buy the same level of hardware it did just a few months ago. This spec drop is a direct reflection of a massive price hike in memory modules. Samsung, Micron, and SK Hynix, the three companies that manufacture almost all the world's RAM, have shifted their focus toward a much more profitable client. Enterprise AI companies are placing massive, bulk orders for high-end memory to fill their server racks. These AI firms are paying top dollar to secure every available chip, which consumes the manufacturing capacity that used to be reserved for consumer electronics. This forces smartphone brands to fight over a smaller, much more expensive supply of chips. When the cost of a 4GB RAM module spikes, that cost is passed directly to the consumer, regardless of whether the phone's design has actually improved. The N6X is a product of this new math. The 21,000 rupee price tag covers the inflated cost of these basic parts, meaning your money is going towards supply chain markups instead of hardware upgrades. Let's look closely at how those costs affected the internals. The N6X uses a MediaTek Dimensity 6360 chipset, paired with 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM and UFS 2.2 storage. In practical terms, these specs create a physical bottleneck. When you try to run multiple modern applications, the system runs out of room to hold that data in active memory, which leads to aggressive app reloads and interface stutters. You are getting a sluggish user experience that feels like it belongs in 2021, despite the modern price tag. This quadrant chart maps the specific trade-offs. We plot daily usage impact against hardware compromises. The memory and RAM node locks into the high compromise zone immediately. This is a critical failure point because software efficiency cannot fix a lack of physical RAM. The hardware simply cannot keep up with the demands of modern apps, making the brand's reputation for smoothness impossible to maintain here. Then there is the screen. The N6X has a large 6.8-inch display, but it relies on an HD plus IPS LCD panel with a dated notch for the front camera. When you stream a movie or watch high-definition video, you'll notice the colors look muted and the blacks appear washed out. The lower resolution also makes text and fine details look noticeably softer than they should. Our evaluation chart now adds a display node in that same high-compromise corner. Just 2 years ago, AMOLED screens were the standard in this price bracket. Choosing this device means accepting a significant drop in screen quality and resolution compared to what used to be common at this price. OnePlus focused their engineering budget on endurance. The N6X features military-grade drop protection, an IP64 rating, and a massive 7,000 mAh battery locking tight. But that massive capacity is tied to a slow 15-watt charging speed. This creates a paradox for the user. You get exceptional multi-day battery life, but once it drains, you have to wait through an incredibly slow recharge cycle to get back to 100%. On our matrix, the battery and durability sits high in the high-impact quadrant. This is the one area where the phone genuinely over-delivers. A quick 15-minute top-up won't do much for a battery this size, so you have to plan for long, overnight charging sessions. The back of the phone is designed to look like a premium multi-lens camera array, creating the visual impression of a high-end device. The reality is that the array only houses a single 13-megapixel sensor. It lacks ultra-wide and telephoto lenses, and it caps video recording at 1080p. The camera node locks into place in the high compromise zone. This completes a profile that is heavily weighted toward the negative. The manufacturer has traded away photographic versatility to maintain their profit margins during this period of high component costs. When you add up these trade-offs, the N6X operates like a 13,000 rupee phone that has been price inflated to 20,000 rupees due to the current state of the memory market. This means we can clearly define who should skip this phone. If you watch video, play mobile games, or scroll social media, this hardware will frustrate you. This side-by-side scorecard shows slow charging and a low-res screen earn red marks for standard routines. However, the highlight shifts to gig workers and field staff. If your job requires 48-hour uptime and extreme durability, the N6X becomes a viable option. For this specific demographic, the N6X is an industrial tool. It prioritizes survival in rough conditions over the smooth animations or the high-resolution video that most users expect. Unless utility-grade battery life is mandatory for your livelihood, you should bypass the current AI memory tax. You are better off spending that same 20,000 rupees on a refurbished flagship model that offers the performance these current budget phones have lost.